Alright, so watch this. You know what we're gonna do for this video? One-handed. Can I do it one-handed? Ah! Haha! We are gonna use handheld mode with the Arsenal.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine liftoff. We have a liftoff. 32.
So yes, I took a couple selfies using the Arsenal with the Canon 7D setup. So my first impressions are that the Canon performs way better than my A7R II, and that's likely due to the hardwire versus the wireless connection that I use my A7R II with. That's probably why with the Arsenal II they decided to go with hardwire systems only, and the A7R II is not one of them. Alright, so right now we're going to use the Arsenal in handheld mode. It works like a charm when you have this wired connection to it. Just don't expect any amazing shots right now because we have remnants of the California wildfire, which means the landscape is ultra smoky. And also, fall has just missed us. See what I can do, but the fact of the matter is we can use handheld mode with the Arsenal, so we're going to talk about it and we're going to compare that to the auto mode on camera. So these shots in particular are going to be interesting to me because the auto mode chose f2.8, and that's what I would have chosen if I wanted to take a picture of this, because I would blow out the background, honestly. That's just the look I'd prefer. The Arsenal decided to go with f7.1. That seems a bit narrow to me. Might be pretty dark because we are shooting into the sunlight and behind a giant wall of bushes. So, I don't know, I guess we'll see what this looks like post-production and whatever I upload to this video, and I'll give you my thoughts later. Alright, so fall colors are kind of gross right now anyways. It's too windy, too much smoke in the air, so I'm just going to take portraits of my cats. So hopefully that'll suffice for some of these tests. Alright, so just note that all of the photos in this video were unedited and just straight from the camera, whether it be from the Arsenal or my Canon 7D. Firstly, I'd like to say that the Arsenal works leaps and bounds better when it's hardwired versus when it's wireless, like I've been showing you on my A7R II when I've been having just issue after issue with connection. This is not like that. It's very consistent and pretty pleasant to use overall. It's also worth noting that there was an update as of filming this video late September, early October on the Arsenal, but nothing to really write home about. It's more or less just to make the Arsenal iOS 14 compatible. Anyways, yes, Handheld mode does work quick with the Arsenal, and it works differently than any automatic or semi-automatic mode that your camera might already have. Now that's not to say it works better, it just works differently. Now the biggest difference I noticed when using the Arsenal in Handheld, or just any mode in general, is that it likes to use a narrower aperture and exposure compensation when possible, versus auto modes which generally don't do that. So an example of this would be, say, when I was taking portraits of my cats. The auto mode would want to use f1.8 or f2, this is the nifty 50 f1.8, to blow out the background and create a little bit of separation, let in some light, and the Arsenal would want to use a smaller, narrow aperture and a third stop down of exposure compensation. I mean, both are valid, but the Arsenal seems to be looking for a sharper and overall a more balanced composition, whereas the auto mode is just a little bit brighter and it focuses more or less on the subject's exposure rather than the whole scene at large. So either or work, but it just really depends on what you want to do, or in this case the AI wants to do, whether it be from your camera or your Arsenal. So in closing, both the Arsenal and auto mode seem to work well. I think the results are subjective, but I think it's safe to say objectively the Arsenal straight out of the camera would want to not come out with noisy images, and it's going to do so by using exposure compensation, and it will do a better job at leveling that exposure so you're not clipping highlights or losing information in your shadows, at least right out of the camera. So this could actually be seen in my very first Arsenal versus automatic video that I made about a year or two back, and the Arsenal did a good job at leveling noise in the shadows, whereas the auto mode on my A7R2 just made everything brighter by using ISO, and it's not a good look. So kudos to the Arsenal for doing that. I mean, still, I would like to say that a lot of what the Arsenal does could still be done by the user without even learning much. I mean, even using the semi-automatic modes like aperture or shutter priority on your camera and capping out your ISO at, say, 6400, where most cameras start to get grainy. After that, you can come up with a usable image without having to spend the money on the Arsenal. So that's all I really have for now, but when the Arsenal comes out with any more substantial updates, if they do, because we know the Arsenal 2 is on the way, we'll make more videos on it. We should make a Pluto video sooner than later. More content to come. So be sure to subscribe, follow my Instagram for any pictures or questions regarding the gear or compositions you see on this page, as well as many other things. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.